5개월 차 6개의 저녁을 먹는다 문도처럼. 세월이 왜 이렇게 빨라 5개월이라니.
오, 수금일 딱 좋네.
뭐라고? 너는 동생이 이번 주에는 수금일이라고? 그러면 수금꾼을 간다.
같이 가요.
하나 둘 삼 넷. 양호 양호. 수신양호.
이치니산씨
유티디오게이 1000원 후원 고마워.
한망의 수신 대기 중인 NGK들 등장바람.
옹산마틴게이 1000원 후원 고마워.
간신 수신양호 마망은 오늘도 목소리가 어여쁘네요. 후훗.
아프리카 외노자게 2000원 후원 고마워. 목소리가 어여쁘네요. 조금 쉬어서 그런가 목 상태가 많이 좋아졌어. 아직 풀 컨디션까진 아니고. 한 50% 정도 되는 것 같은데. 반반. 잠깐만요. 루하 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 루하. 루하 루하. 일단 방송 시작하기 전에 한 가지 공지사항이 있는데, 이번 주에 원래 방송 일정이 일수금일이라고 얘기를 했는데 이사님이 일정 체크를 잘못하셨더라고. 그래서 사실은 수금일이 아니고 수목일이야. 금요일 방송이 아니고 내일 방송이 있어. 나도 당연하게 그런 줄 알고 넘어갔는데 다시 체크해보니까 목요일이더라고. 그래가지고 금요일이 아닌 내일 방송을 진행할 예정이야. 그래서 아까 얘기했지만 컨디션이 한 반 정도는 올라왔고, 그래서 조금 더 쉬면은 괜찮지 않을까 하는데 아직 정확치는 않아.
사사님 유튜브 영상만 보다 오늘 처음 보는데 목소리 이쁘네요.
인찐이게이 1000원 후원 고마워. 인찐이게이 맞지? 처음 본다고? 반가워.
신성한 수금일의 첫날 맞이해 19조를 바칩니다.
도도가 마르게 2000원 후원 고마워. 19조를 바칩니다. 에코가 나온다고? 잠깐만. 안돼. 화면이. 암튼 어디까지 얘기했었지? 아무튼 그래가지고 이번 주 방송은 수, 목, 일 이렇게 진행이 될 예정이야. 익명 유저기 구독 선물 고마워. 끊임없이 구독 선물을 하는 우리 익명 유저기 반가워 반가워. 그 중간에 그 이사님께서 세팅 한번 하신다고 중간에 나 없을 때 방송을 한번 키셨대. 나는 몰랐는데 이사님께서 말씀해 주셨어. 뭔가 테스트는 해보고 싶은데 내가 없기 때문에 없는 척하고 방송을 하셨다고 하더라고. 뭐 이런 때도 있고 저런 때도 있는 거지. 맨날 어떻게 개근을 하겠어.
둘레 테스트 너무 좋아.
아프리카 외노작이 2,000원 후원 고마워. 오늘 테스트 잘 들어온다. 오늘은 아직도 에코가 들어온다고? 아휴 참. 지금 돌아가면서 에코야. 그치 지금 튜네이션만 문제인 것 같은데 지난번 영도데이 하고 난 다음에 세팅이 꼬였나 보다. 오늘은 조금 낯설 수도 있는 게임을 가지고 왔는데 이 게임은 또 우리 이사님 따님분께서 추천해주신 게임이야. 게임이 뭐냐면 스탠리 패러블이라는 게임인데 이게 2013년에 나온 게임이야. 그래서 나온 지는 좀 됐지만 최근에 디럭스 에디션이 새로 출시가 되면서 익명의 유저기 구독 선물 고마워. 그래서
당연히 울트라 디럭스겠죠?
메모리 길티기 2,000원 후원 고마워. 이사님 울트라 디럭스인가요? 울트라 디럭스로 구입을 했고 이게 게임이 플레이한 사람들은 다들 굉장히 좋은 평을 하고 있는 게임이라서 뭐 이번에 이렇게 울트라 디럭스가 출시된 김에 한번 플레이 해보는 게 어떤가 해서 시간을 마련했어. 아무래도 또 우리 남궁케이드는 알겠지만 또 이사님 따님분의 게임 추천은 또 믿을만 하기 때문에 어떤 게임인지 나도 전혀 모르고 그냥 이 게임을 하게 됐다라고 해서 진행을 하는 거라서 아마 어떤 소재인지도 모르고 어떤 내용인지도 모르고 어떤 스타일의 플레이가 진행되는지도 모르는 상태에서 지금 남궁케이드가 처음 진행을 해볼 예정이야. 지금 보니까 뭐 스토리가 되게 중요한 게임인 것 같은데 우리가 플레이하는 부분은 스토리를 뭐 엔딩이라든지 그런 부분까지 보지는 않을 거니까 뭐 보고 100분 게임은 아니지만 보고 플레이 해보고 싶다 흥미가 생긴다면은 플레이 해보면 좋지 않을까 해서 선정을 해봤어. 그건 이제 개인적인 취향이니까 또 어떤 사람은 아닐 수도 있지.
한신으로서 최초이자 최후의 가난을 올리자면 혼수공지 스포공지를 화면에 띄우시는 걸 추천드립니다.
메모리 길티기 1,000원 후원 고마워. 우리 방송에 잘 안 들어오는구나. 우리 방송은 어떤 게임이든지 스포 금지, 훈수 금지야. 오늘도 아무것도 받지 않을 예정. 그거는 말 안 해도 기본적으로 우리 달빛선율기 말대로. 그러잖아 달빛선율기 괜찮아? 코로나 괜찮아? 목이 아파. 목 아픈 거 말고는 없어? 요즘 코로나 걸린 사람이 너무 많아졌어. 그치 방송에서 안 읽어줄 뿐 게시판은 항상 읽고 있으니까. 다행이다. 그래도 막 열나서 막 쓰러져 있고 이런 상태가 아니라서 매우 다행이네. 아무튼 우리 방송에선 절대 이거 뭐 따로 표시를 안 해도 기본적으로 금지이며, 만약에 그런 거를 하는 순간 4K들이 칼춤을 추게 된다고. 기본적인 매너잖아. 다 같이 즐겁게 게임을 플레이하는 걸 보고서 그냥 즐기는 것뿐. 그치. 뭔가 도를 넘는 순간 가만두지 않겠다. 오케이. 4.5K. 뭐 4.5K면 근데 하긴 뭐 4.5K는 4.5K네. 좋았어. 그러면은 오늘은 플레이를 진행을 해볼까나. 아직 목 상태가 많이 좋아진 건 아니라 가지고 그 목소리가 잠깐 좀 간혹가다 잠길 수 있지만 이해해줘. 자, 그러면 안 들어왔다. 오케이. 익명의 유저기 구독 선물 고마워. 우리 익명의 유저기도 절대로 더 이상 내가 작아져야 되겠군. 돌고래가 없는 자를 그냥 두지 않겠다. 약간 이런 느낌으로다가. 전에 스탠리 패러블을 플레이해본 적이 있나요? 잠깐만, 이거 왜 안 꺼져? 꺼져! 플레이해본 적이 있나요? 아니요. 플레이해본 적이 있으면 뭐가 다른가? 컴퓨터가 거의 보이지 않을 때까지 조절하라 그랬는데 너무 어두우면 또 플레이하기 힘드니까 적당히 밝게. 현재 시각? 이것도 입력해야 돼? 현재 시각 7시 40분. 뭔가 이유가 있겠지? 그치. 뭔가 이상해. 이게 그 이사님 따님분의 취향이 약간 공포나 이런 것도 조금 무서운 이런 것도 좋아하셔가지고 어떻게 보면 무서운 거일 수도 있는데 일단은 시작해보겠어.
간신으로서 최초이자 최후의 가난을 올리자면 혼수금지, 스포금지를 화면에 띄우시는 걸 추천드립니다. 히크크크.
네. 심플. 이거 약간 그 침팬지들 지능 테스트 하는 약간 그런 느낌인데. 시키는 일이 소리가 안 나온다고? 잠깐만.
For this job, and Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself
저런
unable
사무실에서
to
일해본
move for the
사람.
longest time.
손 들어봐.
But as he came to his wits
저렇게
and
생긴
regained
사무실.
his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
익명 유저기 구독 선물 고마워. 아, 이렇게 오래된 컴퓨터랑 이런 전화기가 있는 데서 일해본 사람. 근데 지금 다짜고짜 뭔가를 시키는데 방탈출 같은 건가? 야. 나 저거 버튼을 눌러보고 있는데.
홍선막 주임이 군대에서
군대? 군대. 일단 나가보자.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
회의실. 와, 회사가 엄청 큰데? 너 어디가 회의실이지? 나한테 이런 시련을 주지 말란 말이야. 어딘지 알 수
When
없는.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
친절하게 설명해준다. 왼쪽으로 가래. 착한 게임 인정. 왜 여긴 깜깜한데?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
지금 컨트롤러로
hoping he
하는
might
중.
find an answer there.
익명 유저기 구독 선물 고마워.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
별다른 훈수가 필요 없는데 게임에서 다 알려줘. 위로 가세요. 옆으로 가세요. 아, 친절해라. 이런 친절한 게임 오랜만이야. 어디가? 여긴가? 베스룸인데? 비서도 없는걸? 아, 여기 열려있다.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again
이사님 방.
stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
2845.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2, 8, 4, 5. 아, 이 게임이 너무 친절한데?
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code.
운이야, 이것은
by sheer
운이라고?
luck. Amazing.
너무
He stepped
amazing.
into the newly opened passageway.
익명 유저기 구독 선물 고마워. 구독 선물 읽다가 뭐야 여긴 다른 곳이 됐어. 무섭다.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It
스탠리만 아니고
was a
나쁜데.
stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
오. 뭐야.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
내 옆에 이스케이프라고 돼 있어. 이 시점에서 약간 게이머의 느낌으로 드는 생각은 뭐냐면 그냥 여기 이스케이프로 나가면 게임이 끝날 것 같거든? 뭔가 이것도 멀티 엔딩이 있어가지고 그냥 일로 나가면 게임이 끝나는 뭐 엔딩이 있고 뭐 이쪽으로 가면 그냥 게임 진행돼. 약간 이런 느낌이야. 왜 여기 이스케이프라고 돼 있고 여기가 뚫려 있냐고 찝찝하게.
국가국 노래도 있는 낙서로 돼 있잖아요. 왜 그쪽으로 가요?
나가보자.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
뭐라고? 뭐라고? 잠깐만. 익명의 유적이 구독 선물 고마워. 뭐라고? 갈래. 가보자.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
계속해서 나레이션이 나보고
At this point,
돌아가래.
Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
뭔데 오! 뭔데? 오!
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
뭐야, 게임이
Stanley
진행되고
can't
있어.
see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs
아니.
from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
아니 저기
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator,
Oh,
as
이것도
Stanley
뭐야?
was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
어? 어? 뭐지? 어? 어?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
아니 이게 여기가 게임의 엔딩 메인 메뉴네. 잠깐만. 자유 엔딩. 아니 잠깐만 여기 그거잖아. 이거 개발팀에서 크레딧이 아니고 마치 박물관처럼 지금까지 개발해온 역사를 쭉 둘러볼 수 있게 만들어놨어. 이 개발자들 독특하네.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
익명유적이 구독 선물
But
고마워.
listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
뭐지? 게임이 한 번 죽으면 엔딩까지 저렇게 긴 과정을 거쳐야 되는 거야? 자, 다시
All of his
시작이야.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
게임이 놀라운데?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
확실한 건 지금 이 게임에서 얘기해주고 있는 이 나레이터가
Yet there was not a
스탠리를
single
죽이고
person
싶어
here
한다는 것?
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
그리고 제가 선택한 건 맞긴 맞는데
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley was in such a rush to get through this door as quickly as possible.
이거 봐. 왜 이렇게 빨리 하니? 라면서 나한테 화를 내고 있어.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming
게임이
new
플레이어를
age
갖고
music.
노는데 잔잔한 뉴에이지 음악 뭐야? 빨리 열어. 한국인은 그런 걸 기다려주지 않는다고.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
잠깐만. 뭐지? 시작하자마자 혼란스러운데?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
어떤 마인드 컨트롤을 하게 될 것인가?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
힘이 있거나 없거나 가야겠지? 감시 카메라?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
해고당한 사람도 있고 감시 카메라가 깨진 사람도 있네. 뭐야, 무섭다.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
그래? 내가? 어떻게? 뭔가 선택할 수 있는 게 있어야 될 것 같은데 여기 있다. 아닌가? 무반응. 문 더 잠겨 있고 나가면 되는 거야?
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
시스템 파워 오프. 일단 끄라니까 꺼보는 거지.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
프리덤.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
해피. 응? 뭐야, 게임이 끝났어? 이게 엔딩 중에 하나였나 보네.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
아니, 또 시키는 대로 했더니 또 그런 거야?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
이번에는 또 나레이터가 시키는 거랑
Yes,
반대로
truly a
해봤어.
room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
별로 좋아 보이지 않는데?
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
여기서 다시 왼쪽으로 들어가라고? 싫어.
어쩐지 엔딩 업적 안 뜨더라.
IBC 여기 1000원 후원 고마워. 아니야, 엔딩 업적 떴어.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't
이번에도 또
5 years
시키지
ago.
않은 방향으로 갔어. 나레이터가 짜증을 내고 있지. 너 왜 시키는 대로 안 해? 하고 시키는 대로 했더니 너무 짧았는걸? 카고 리프트 움직이는 동안 뛰어내지 말라고.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
너
Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
너의 협박이야?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
또
That's her,
뭐지?
Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
별다른
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
무서워.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
컨트롤러에서 방향 위키를 누르라고?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
X.
Look at him there, pushing buttons. Doing exactly what he's told
아니
to
누르라며!
do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
왜 자꾸 누르래?
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further.
버튼만
He
누르라고.
imagined that he came to two
하진
open
않고.
doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
아 정말. 눌러.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
질문 안 해.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
와.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
마망이 죽였어.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on
내가
his
죽였다고?
left.
아니야. 다시 이번엔 왼쪽으로 가서.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
안녕.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
아무것도 안 바뀌었죠.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
어?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
스탠리가 죽었어.
결국에는 이거는 계속해서 죽을 수밖에 없는
I
상황이야.
can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley
바뀌었어.
thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
나레이션 내용이 바뀌었어.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
달라진 건 아무것도 없는데 나레이션만 바뀌었는데?
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
그래. 뭐지? 뭔가 많이 바뀌었어. 왠지 자존심
Stanley
상하게
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
매우 자존심 상하게 이 개발자들이 원하는 대로 정확하게 내가 플레이를 하고 있어. 대전종신기 구독 선물 고마워. 한 번쯤은 틀리게 갈 법도 한데 한 번도 틀리지 않았나봐.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
그렇지 않고서야 이렇게 한 번에 문제도 없이 부드럽게 흘러갈 리가 없어. 대전종신기 구독 선물 고마워.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
굉장히 많은 직원들이 있고 카메라도 엄청 많은데 427번은 별다른 건 없었는데 오히려 다른 사람들 카메라가 더 흥미로운 게 많아요. (427번은) 이쪽에 있습니다. 지금 앞에 보이는 어두운 저 방, 가운데에 보이는
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
이 아저씨 좀 잘 돌리네.
뭔가를 재밌는 건 이 방에 들어왔을 때 저렇게 번호가 달려있는 등이 있다는 얘기지. 여기에도 3번이 있고. 하지만 누를 수는 없어. 단지 번호가 있을 뿐. 보통 상호작용이 가능하면 동그란 표시가 나오는데 이 방에 있는 어느 곳도 동그라미 표시가 안 나오는데, 그래서 난 처음에 여기서 뭔가를 잘못했나라고 생각했거든? 근데 그건 아닌 것 같고. 자존심 상하지만 남은 옵션은 단 하나뿐이라는 거.
여기 버튼 중에 추천 버튼도 있나요?
로또가 아니야.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk
뭔가
about
이렇게
you,
되니까 여기 있는
about
버튼을
me,
누를 수 있게 돼
where
있어.
we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
갑자기
What's that?
뭔가가 작동을 하는데
You'd like to know where your co-workers are.
2번을
A
누르시오.
moment of solace before you're obliterated.
3번.
All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them.
3번이
I
어디지?
erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this
어디가
instance of
3번이야?
the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then
3번이 어딨어?
dying alone.
이건가?
Other
이거
times,
5번이잖아.
I let the
3번이
office
어딨지?
sink into the ground,
저 위에 있는
swallowing everyone inside,
아,
or
여기다
I let
3번.
it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing.
아니라고?
Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich.
파랑
I almost
3번을
hate
누르세요.
to see it go.
라고 적혀 있는 거 아니야?
But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the
3번을
next go
눌렀는데
around
5번을.
will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what?
파란색인데
To hell with it.
6번.
I'm going to
파란색인데
put some
6번.
extra time on the clock. Why not?
10번.
These are precious
3번이
additional
없는데?
seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're
없잖아.
supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces.
진짜로 아무것도
Will you
작동을
cling
안 하게 돼
desperately
있네.
to
그냥
your thrill?
굿바이래.
Or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
뭐지? 정말
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
이사님께서 지금부터 훈수 도내 모드를 발동하라고 하신다. 뭐야? 그러기 전에 새로운 컨텐트 문이 열렸는데요?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
이제부터 훈수를 받으라고요? 이제부터는 훈수 돈에 맞춰서 움직인대. 자, 그럼 가볼까나?
훈수, 마음 가는 대로 하십시오.
마음 가는 대로 하라고?
남궁루리는 추천과 비추천 중 추천을 주기로 하였습니다.
뭐야 그게?
하고 싶은 대로 하는 게 훈수입니다. 하지 말라고 하는 거 하기 안 가도 되는 게 가지.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video
그런
game
거야?
released in 2013 on home computers.
어차피
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
선택은 마망 이목.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
아, 이게 그러니까 지금 울트라 디럭스의 컨텐츠라는 거야?
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
어. 왜지 뭐라?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
글쎄.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
어? 어?
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
아, 이게 뭐야? 점프? 울트라 디럭스 하네. 다 했. 끝이야? 심지어 바닥에 테이프 붙여놨어. 이게 울트라 디럭스에 추가되는 새로운 컨텐츠야?
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
또 엘리베이터를 타?
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
응? 뭐지? 여긴 다시 사무실 아니야? 어?
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people and hold them
주소 좀 알려주세요.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
아, 진짜로 리셋되는 거야? 여긴 어디야? 여긴 아까 출발하던 곳의 액자 그림 아니야? 오! 427호에서 나왔는데?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
자, 여기서 초이스. 위에 계단으로 갈지 아니면 통풍구 쪽으로 갈지. 골라줘.
스탠리, 내 운명은 내 것이다.
응? 그럼 내 운명은 내 거지.
일단 통풍구로 가보죠.
통풍구로, 알겠어. 오.
남궁마마는 생각했어요. 여기서 위로 가는 도네가 나오면 아래로 가야겠다.
아니야, 시키는 대로 하는 거야.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
이게 뭐야? 응?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
이 게임 베스트 인디게임 수상 받은 거였어? 졌다구로 만들고.
라고 들을 정도는 아닌 것 같은데 이렇게 화가 났어 갑자기?
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
스팀 발매됐을 때 야, 이거는 오리지널 리메이크. 언제적 캡처 화면이지? 거기다가 상도 많이 받았어. 좋았을 시절. 아까 우리가 지나왔던 그것들. 그러니까 지금 내가 느끼기에는 내가 원래 2013년에 출시된 걸 안 해본 상태에서 지금 이 상황을 판단하기엔 2013년에 아까 진행되듯이 우리가 지나온 이런 게임들을 진행을 했는데 이거에서 만족하지 않고 그 후에 지금 스토리를 더 붙이고 있는 것 같거든? 반대로 그때는 왜 이렇게 게임이 짧았지? 이런
마마는 왜 상했어요? 좋은 시절이었지. 물론 마마는 이 게임을 해본 적이 없어요.
그치. 아무튼 그런 식으로 짧게 진행됐던 게임인데 그 상태로는 엔딩이 좀 아쉽지 않아? 라고 해서 지금 게임 CD로도 출시가 됐구나. 행운의 $1. 이거는 그 초기 데모 버전 실행 화면이고 박물관을 이렇게 해놓은 게 되게 웃기다. 업적 5년 동안 플레이하지 말라고? 달성할 수 없는 도전과제 업적이 있었고, 정말 이런 쟁쟁, 응?
훈수 허용이니까 컨셉 받고 말하는데 아직 본편 30%도 못 즐긴 상태입니다. 그냥 DLC로 후딱 오신 거예요.
아, 그런 거야? 정작 본편 안 하고 지금 DLC로 온 거야? 성공했다! 개발자들의 그 의도를 부쉈다 내가.
TMI 달성 불가능한 업적입니다. 업적은 업적 달성률이 0%가 아니다.
그렇겠지? 개발자들이 다 플레이를 한 다음에 보십시오 라고 하는 걸 난 지금 보고 있어. 상당한 드디어 뿌듯해졌다. 내가 해놨다고.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
1시간도 안 된 것 같은데? 근데 딴 것보다 지금 플레이 시작한 지 딱 1시간 되긴 한 것 같은데, 플레이한 지 딱 1시간이 된 건 어떻게 알았지? 정확하게 1시간 됐는데? 뭐야. 여기도 위아래로 나뉘는데? 설마 여기도 뭐 만들어 놓은 건 아니겠지? 아직 메인터넌스 중이군. 유지 보수.
같이 알면 좋은 사실. 스탠리 패러블 울트라 디럭스는 원래 2019년 발매 예정이었으나 3년 연기됐다.
3년이나 연기가 됐다고? 이건 이제 게임을 개발할 때 개발용 프로그램 화면의 모습이야. 디자인. 3년이나 지연된 이유는 뭐였지? 빨간 문으로 갈래? 파란 문으로 갈래? 우와, 한정판인가 보다.
사유 코로나.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
근데 이게 끝인걸? 아, 저쪽에 문이 있구나. 저기.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
아니 어떻게 게임 DLC가 자기 자랑 늘어놓기 큐큐큐.
여기는 나레이터가 만들지 않은 곳인데?
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
스팀 리뷰 모음. 자, 이제 아마 우리 지금 남궁 K들이 쓰고 있는 채팅과 비슷한 내용이 있을 거야. 잘 봐.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
추천 리뷰는 여기 처박혀 있어. 추천합니다 하는 거는 처박아놨고, 이 컨테이너들 쌓여있는 게 모두 스팀의 리뷰들이야. 지금 우리 남궁 K를 채팅만 봐도 알 수 있겠지. 게임 을 평가하는 매체들에서는 이 게임에 굉장히 좋은 평가를 내리고 상도 많이 받고 그런 게임인데 실제로 플레이어들은 이 게임을 매우 혹평을 한 것 같아. 지금 남궁 K를 채팅만 봐도 알 수 있겠지. 여기도 지금 추천한다는 리뷰는 뒤집어 놓고 보이지도 않게 해놨어. 여기 또 비추천 리뷰가 또 선명하게 있네.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
심지어 이거 쓴 사람 닉네임을 딱 박제를 해놨어. 그냥 리뷰만 가지고 온 게 아니고 다 리뷰들이 상자에 담겨서 여기도 또 비추 리뷰가 있다.
Got to say, You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Oh. 아니 이런 식은 말고.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue. And it goes something like this.
남궁마마는 생각했어요. 스킵 버튼 안 누르면 이 아저씨가 얼마나 짜증까? 그리고 버튼을 눌렀어요.
Until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years. Until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. Can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah.
계속 돌고 도네. 좋아, 똑같은 거 돌고 도니까 눌러볼게.
No, until two. Oh, you're back. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are or were or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then... Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a
한 15분 정도 지났어.
it's right at your fingertips to
뒤에 시계를 괜히 넣은 게 아니야.
It's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
또 눌러달라는 건가? 갑자기 소리가 멈췄어. 본인도 지쳤나? 어떻게 할까?
마마는 독백이 멈춰서 노래를 기다렸어요. 눌러보죠. 그리고 마마는 눌렀어요.
눌러보죠.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time
시간이
the
한
button
시간이
has been
지났는데?
skipping through is becoming longer and longer.
순식간에 한 시간이 지나갔어.
Well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's not unendurable by any means, but well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button.
어떻게 할까?
Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
어떻게 할까?
하지 말라면 하지 마로요. 그치만 난 청개구리 스킵.
다들 푸시래. 누른다.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I'll plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are.
Cookie Nine 가만두지 않겠다, Cookie Nine.
But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The mere mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and impulsive.
수많은 남궁 K들이 Cookie Nine 때문에 지금 이러고 있잖아.
With a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment.
진짜 이 정도면 수정해줘야 된다.
Such an impulse serve. For whose benefit is this? And here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button, and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it, and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening, if only I'd held my tongue. It's all out of my control now. Just you, just your decision, as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone? Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, 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 I know you too well. You'll be leaving me oh my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie 9's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie 9. I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child. Wild and impulsive. I can't help myself. I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this? And here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button, and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it, and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening, if only I'd held my tongue. It's all out of my control now. Just you. Just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh no, no,
이제 슬슬 나갈 길을 찾아볼까요? 그럼 좀 조용해지지
And it's all
않을까요?
because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie 9's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie 9. I have no idea who they
저
are.
나레이터가 너무
What would it
계속
really matter? But
찡찡거리긴 하지만 실제로 나갈 길이 없어.
every tiny negative thing that anyone
그래서
ever
여기서
says
만약에
about
우리가
me.
나갈
The
유일한
merest
방법은
mention of
오로지
one of my
버튼을 누르는 것뿐이야.
imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child. Wild and impulsive. I can't help myself.
지금 이 나레이터는 우리한테 계속 버튼을 누르지 말라고 하는 게 그냥 본인이 하고 싶은 말 계속 떠들고 싶기 때문에 버튼을 누르지 말라고 하는 건데, 왜냐하면 이 세계 자체는 지금 이 나레이터가 통제하고 있지 않은, 나레이터가 만들지 않은 세상이니까 자기 마음대로 할 수 없거든. 그래서 지금 너무 불안한 거야. 지금 상황에서 진짜로 불안한 건 나레이터라고. 나는 불안하지 않아. 어쩌다 이런 상황이 됐는지 점점 스탠리가 아닌 나레이터가 불안해지기 시작하는 거라고.
It's all out of my control now. Just you. Just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, 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 I know you too well. You'll... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh,
밤이
my
됐어.
goodness. I have someone
이거
to
봐,
talk to
나레이터
again.
지금 불안하고.
Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing.
심지어 뒤에 있는 이
It's
식물이
exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel
아까는
like
생생하게
what we've
있었는데 이젠 다
already been
시들어서
doing?
죽어버렸어.
Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along?
굉장히 철학적인 게임이네.
Yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time. That if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed,
이 모든
and I
건
feel
스탠리
right now
잘못이
like I
맞다.
am not a
상사가
work of
이상하거나
fiction.
어느 날
I feel
갑자기
as though
동료들이
I
모두
occupy
안
space in
보이면
this world
깜찍하는
again,
게
and I have
맞다.
cast a shadow onto the wall. You see
그냥
what I'm
집에 갈
saying,
수가
don't
없을
you?
정도로
You
무섭잖아.
can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it. To think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
자, 또 누르지 말라고 간청하고 있는데 어떻게 할까? 이 나레이터는 결국엔 스탠리를 이용하고 있었다는 걸 인정하고 싶은 거군. 인정해야 하는 거군. 이게 모두 다 쿠키나인 때문이야. 쿠키나인.
끝말잇기나 합시다.
끝말잇기를 하자고? 자, 채팅창에서 남궁 K들 끝말잇기를 시작해줘. 시작은 쿠키9 인으로 시작. 인으로 하라고. 인. 아이, 끝말잇기를 하랬더니 자꾸 인으로 시작하는 단어를 얘기하지 말고. 규칙은 지켜야지. 채팅 규칙.
이거 함정수사야.
함정수사라니. 끝말잇기를 해야지. 내 말만 하지 말고 상대방의 말을 들으라고. 나레이터처럼 되면 안 되잖아. 나레이터처럼 본인 할 말만 하면 어떡해. 상대방을 봐야 돼. 왜 자꾸 귀가 되지?
제가 잘못다 용서해 주세요.
아이고, 정말 순서가 엉망이구만.
버튼을 눌러서 장막을 들추고 미래를 엿보았지만 거기엔 오직 망각뿐이었어.
아유 참. 심지어 말도 아니고 좀 채팅으로 올라가고 있는데도 이렇게 혼돈이라니. 큰일 났다. 갑자기 게임하다 말고. 응? 아니야. 놔도 재밌어. 이런 혼돈이 재밌는 것이지. 누가 채팅이 빠른가. 나레이터도 아주 끈기 있게 기다리고 있어.
틱톡 나레이터 자는 거 아니지?
내레이터는 자지 않아. 하지만 이건 알아도 게임 코드는 지치지 않아. 게임의 프로그래밍 코드는 사람보다 강하다고.
메모리누수 슬슬 인사해볼까 합니다.
메모리누수. 너무 재밌다. 지금 훈수 돈에 갇혀서 강제로 끝말잇기 시작했는데 진행이 되는지 어쩐지 알 수가 없어. 채팅창도 혼돈이고 여기 나레이터도 혼돈이고.
수냉쿨러 내가 먼저다.
수냉쿨러. 그 정도로 우리 오래 있진 않았어. 괜찮아. 그리고 우리 모두의 PC가 위험하다고. 어차피
게임 코드는 자꾸 연약해요. 난 게임 로고 바꿨는데 왜 질럿이 아두겐을 쏘는 거야?
그것은 게임의 문제가 아니라 플레이어의 문제다.
아니 다들 기록 끝나는 단어를 너무 좋아하시는 거 아닙니까?
기밖에 모르는 것 같아. 기로 시작하는 것밖에.
러시아 슬슬 버튼을 눌러도 되지 않을까요?
좋아. 그러면 이제 버튼을 눌러보겠어. 뿅.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible. the spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then, this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do, that perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well. Perhaps you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
이건 프리퀄이야, 시퀄이야, 추가 콘텐츠야, 뭐 어떻게 되는 거야?
재밌게 계속해봐.
말이 끝났어. 계속해봐라고 하는 그 상황에서 할 말을 다 한 것 같아. 자, 그럼 이제 버튼 눌러볼게. 어쩐지 무섭다.
근성 없는 놈.
더 이상 나레이터가 떠들지 않는데? 이 방에 있는 모든 천장에 있던 그 전등도 다 꺼졌고, 빛 하나 들어오지 않는 상태로 이제 나레이터도 떠드는 걸 멈추고. 눌러볼게. 시계가 떨어졌어. 갑자기 감지기가 울리네. 뭐지? 설마 내가 이 사다리를 이용하거나 할 수 있는 건 아니겠지? 야. 그런 건 아닌 것 같아. 자, 어떻게 버튼을 누를까? 아니면 이걸 누를 수 있나? 이거를 건드려 볼까? 버튼을 눌러 볼까? 선택해줘. 되게 무서운데? 이건 원래 없었는데 갑자기 생겨나서 삑삑거리고. 선택의 시간. 뜨거. 과연 첫 번째로 오는 선택은 무엇인가? 무섭지. 남궁 케이드도 무섭지. 잠만 서둘러 선택의 도네이션을 보내기 무섭지. 감지기를 눌러보자고. 눌러도 아무런 반응이 없어. 자, 그럼 버튼을 눌러볼게.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think. To feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me. Perhaps the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, to be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amused them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything everything and are accountable to nothing.
글쎄,
We get a world where someone will say,
별로 좋아 보이지
there
않아.
should be a skip button.
남궁케이들이
You
이런
should be
식으로
able to
얘기하는
freeze Stanley
게
in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all
사실
of this in the new Stanley parable.
여기서도
We
얘기했듯이
demand it,
게임이
and then because
게임이라는
it
게
was said,
모두가
because it was
웃기고
spoken,
즐겁고
now
재밌는
it simply has
용도로만
to
만드는 게
happen.
아니라 사람으로 하여금 생각하게 만드는 내용이 있을 수도 있는데 그 게임에 담겨있는 본질을 생각하지 않고 그냥 단순히 내 맘에 안 들어 왜 이딴 게임을 만들었어 라고 비난하기 쉽지. 근데 그 개발한 사람들 입장에서 어떤 생각으로 게임을 만들었는지에 대한 깊은 생각은 하려고 하지 않는 거야. 그래서 그렇게 단순히 그냥 재미없다고 그냥 게임을 그런 식으로 취급을 해버리면 결국에는 그냥 단순하게 웃기거나 단순하게 재밌는 게임밖에 남지 않게 되겠지. 그게 단순히 게임뿐만 아니라 뭐 드라마나 영화나 하다못해 우리가 보는 그냥 잡지 광고만 해도 다 그런 식인 것 같아. 요즘에는 그냥 다들 가볍게 웃고 즐기고 넘길 수 있는 것만 찾다 보니 뭔가 메시지가 담긴다거나 아니면 한 번 더 생각할 거리가 있는 콘텐츠들에 대해서 별로 관심이 없는달까? 그런 부분이 있어. 그래서 근데 이 남궁케이들이 보내는 채팅이나 도네이션을 보고 있자니 그런 상황이 여기서도 반복되고 있는 걸 보니까 좀 그렇긴 해.
What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around.
이렇게 계속해서 나레이터가 되게 본인에 대한 이야기를 하면서 자신의 나름의 이유를 설명하고 있지만 우리처럼 이렇게 쭉 그 나레이터가 하는 얘기를 듣고 공감하는 사람도 있겠지만 대부분은 그냥 아이 또 떠드네 이 자식 또 떠드네 하면서 그냥 또 스킵 버튼을 계속해서 누르고 있겠지. 그러니까 결국에는 이런 걸 또 듣고 싶어 하는 사람만 듣게 된다고.
The end is never the end is never the end is never the
여긴
end
트위치입니다.
is never
순간의 돈으로 사이다를 원해요.
순간의 돈으로 사이다를 원한다고? 무슨 말이지? 그러니까 가끔은 그런 생각을 해봐야 돼. 순간적인 그런 만족을, 그러니까 순간적인 그런 감정의 만족? 지금 얘기했지만 뭐 사이다 같이 그냥 지금 당장 결말이 있었으면 좋겠고 지금 당장 설명이 있었으면 좋겠고 지금 당장 나를 이해시켰으면 좋겠고 하는 것들이 있잖아. 근데 그게 간혹 어쩌다가 한 번씩이 아니라 계속해서 그런 것만 원하게 되면 결국 인간은 생각하는 것이 하나의 능력인데
씻고 왔는데 아직도 버튼 앞이군.
아직도 버튼 앞이야. 계속해서 그렇게 단순한 자극에만 길들여지다 보면은 결국엔 인간이 가지고 있는 생각하는 능력이라는 것을 잃어버리게 돼. 그래서 왜 요즘 사람들이 긴 글도 잘 안 읽으려고 하고 책도 막 복잡한 책도 잘 안 읽으려고 하고 긴 영상도 잘 안 보려고 하고 다 짧은 영상만 보려고 하고 그래서 세 줄 요약 좀 막 이런 식으로 하는 것도 그렇고 유튜브도 출근해서 재미없으면 바로 넘겨버리고. 나 지금 아무것도 안 눌렀어. 지금 이거는 자동으로 게임에서 진행되는 거야. 그러니까 상대방의 이야기, 그 다음 상대방이 진행하고자 하는 것, 그런 거에 대해서 더 이상 관심을 가져주지 않아. 이 게임의 개발자들이 어떤 생각으로 이걸 만들었는지. 지금 남궁케이들도 사실은 그래서 어쩌라고 라는 마음으로 보고 있잖아. 다 이제 너무 낡아서 시간이 너무 오래 지나서 무너져 버렸어. 누군가는 가볍게 그렇게 리뷰를 남길 수 있지만 그 리뷰를 본 개발자들은 이렇게 오랜 시간이 지나도 여전히 상처를 받는 거지. 내가 한 일이 잘못된 걸까? 내가 만드는 게임은 사람들이 알아주지 않는 걸까? 그런 생각을 하게 되지. 그게 어쩔 수 없는 상황이야. 천장이 무너져서 빛이 들어오기 시작한다. 이러다가 이 주변에 아무것도 남지 않을 거야. 점점 무너져 간다. 시간이 오래 지나니까 무너진 틈을 타라서 이렇게 새로운 생명들이 자라기 시작했네. 다시 밤이 찾아왔다. 뭔가 큰 변화가 있었는지 식물은 다 사라지고 다시 우린 여기 있네. 건물이 더 무너졌어, 천장이. 그렇게 건너뛰기를 원하는 사람들 입장에선 건너뛰기만 있으면 아무것도 상관없지. 단순히 게임이 길고 말이 많다는 이유만으로 건너뛰기를 넣어달라고 했으니.
맞아. 돌고래자에 담긴 미학을 알아보지 못하다니. 그들은 오직 겉으로 보이는 지읒토피아만을 원하고 있어.
그럼 무슨 의미가 담겨있는데 그 짤엔? 마침내 이 버튼도 무너졌어. 우리 아까 본편 제일 처음 했을 때 기억나? 스탠리는 아무런 의미 없이 계속해서 버튼을 누르라 그러면 버튼을 누른다고 나와 있었잖아? 아무런 의문도 없이 그냥 누르라 그러면 누르는 거야. 계속해서 쭉 지금껏 한 번도 의문을 갖지 않고 버튼을 누르라고 했을 때 눌러왔어. 마찬가지로 건너뛰기를 원하는 사람들, 이 게임의 스토리나 내용을 알고 싶어 하지 않고 그냥 빨리 이 게임을 넘겨서 엔딩을 보고 싶어 하는 사람들, 버튼이 보이면 그냥 아무 생각 없이 누르는 거지. 마침내 한쪽 벽이 무너졌네. 방금 전까지 우리가 갇혀있던 곳. 다시 돌아왔다. 우리는 다시 한번 시작에 섰어.
방에서 나가지 맙시다.
방에서 나가지 말자고? 알았어. 여기 있을게. 새로운 도네이션이 올 때까지. 이 방에 있는 건 아쉽게도 상호작용할 수 있는 게 하나도 없어.
내 문을 닫죠.
나도 문 닫고 싶은데 상호작용이 되는 게 됐다.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure.
방문을
What if he
닫혔어.
had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. no.
결국
This
결과를
couldn't go
아실
anywhere so
테니까.
badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to.
Very soon.
He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
오. 놀랍게도 엔딩이었어. 문 닫고 기다리니깐 아니래.
아무 문이나 두드려보는 건 어때요?
아무 문이나 두들겨보자고? 몇 번 문을 두들겨보길 원해? 굉장히 많은 문이 있는데. 옆문부터 두드려볼까? 잠겼고. 잠겼어.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
아무것도 바뀌는 게 없다.
혹시 창밖 볼 수 있나요?
창밖? 창밖인데 아무것도 안 보여. 하얗게 돼 있어.
퇴근하기 전에 사장님께 인사드리러 가는 건가? 사장님 어디 있어요?
사장님 방에 갔을 때 비밀번호 있었던 거 기억 안 나? 모든 문이 다 닫혀 있다.
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
아이 그게 내 탓이라고? 난 시청자들이 원하는 대로 할 뿐이야. 어? 뭔가 더 화려해졌는데? 뉴 컨텐츠로 제발 가라고? 이번에 네온 사인까지 달아놨어. 처음에는 저 문만 있었는데 엄청난 어필을 하고 있는데 어떻게 할까? 뉴로 가볼까? 아니면 본편을 더 탐험해볼까? 그것은 우리 남궁 K들의 선택. 아 컵에 있는 글자는 별거 아니야. 그냥 항상 저런 사무실 컵에 있는 난 월요일이 싫어 뭐 그런 거야.
허나 컨텐츠를
본편 가보죠.
거절한다.
뭔 컨텐츠를 거절한다고? 아 하나? 컨텐츠 거절한다고? 오케이 알겠어.
안 갈래요.
자 다들 안 간다고 하니까
투표로 정해보는 건 어떨까?
When
많은
Stanley came to a set
생각했어요.
of two open doors, he entered the door on his
투표는
left.
받잖아. 훈수 돈이기 때문에. 근데 뭐 그게 제일 처음 왔으면 투표를 받았을 수도
싫어,
있지만.
싫어. 돈보다 먹고 싫어.
뭐라고? 자 어느 문으로 갈까? 자, 이번에 모든 선택은 남궁 K 선택.
오른쪽 끝까지 가봐요.
자 오른쪽 끝까지 가봐요.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
오른쪽 끝에 여기 들어가면은 그냥 직원 라운지인데 아까 우리가 이미 왔기 때문에.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
다시 전화기까지 가요요.
전화기까지 가자고?
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
전화기가 있는 방이라.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
전화기가 있는 방이 이쪽 끝이었나? 이거는 도네이션 상관없이 전화기가 있는 방이 이쪽 끝이었나? 오케이.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that?
시청자가
You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
나도 몰랐어.
No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
남궁키다.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a
연습
regular
시간도 있어.
basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
아니, 본인이 컨트롤할 수 있는 다른 세상으로 보내주겠다는 것이지.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
응? 응? 정말? 열어줘.
왔던 길로 돌아가요.
문이 닫혔어. 열어줘. 일단 가볼게. 혹시 모르니까 문을 휘저어본다. 지금 아까 처음에 왔던 길을 거꾸로 가고 있잖아? 무슨 꿍꿍이인지 보자고 일단.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
자, 다시 한번 왼쪽, 오른쪽을 선택할 수 있는 곳까지 돌아왔어.
오른쪽으로 가기 원하는 게 분명해요.
오른쪽으로 가기 원하는 게 분명하다고? 좋아.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
문이 이상해. 번호들이 이상해지기 시작했어. 패러독스에 빠지기 시작했군. 근데 문이 열리는 건가? 문이 다 안 열리는데? 이거 봐. 그림도 이상하고 다 이상하지? 오른쪽 문은 다 닫혀있어. 이게 어떤 영화나 게임에서도 자주 등장하는 건데 패러독스가 발생하면은 이런 식으로 발생했다는 표현을 이런 식으로 하는 거야. 자체가 무너지기 시작하는 거지. 완벽한 현실이. 그나저나 이거 완전 다쳐갖고 안 되는데? 어떻게 할 수 있는 방법이 있나? 다 눌러보는 중.
전기 문제가 있을 것 같은 공간이다.
전기 문제. 아예 이 나레이터가 나를 막아놓고 절대 못 들어가게 하고 있어. 혹시나 아까 우리 남궁키가 얘기했던 것처럼 표시는 안 되지만 상호작용을 할 수 있는 게 있나?
와, 스탠리. 내가 스탠리고 스탠리가 나다.
그치. 원래 스탠리는 계속해서 여기서 아까 봤던 그것처럼 그렇게 될 예정이었는데 플레이어인 내가 끼어들면서 스탠리를 구해줄 방법을 찾고 있는 거지.
다시 돌아가야겠네요.
다시 돌아갈까? 자, 다시 돌아왔어. 우리에게 선택은 오로지 왼쪽뿐이야. 이쪽은 당연한 선택이기 때문에 주변의 모든 것들이 아직 멀쩡하지. 다 나레이터의 계획대로 되어 있기 때문에요.
It's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
또 껐어. 안 껐...
나약한 나레이터 말 따윈 듣지 않겠다.
나약한 나레이터.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
자, 다시 한번 문이 열렸어. 이번엔 어디로 갈까?
오른쪽.
오른쪽.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
오른쪽으로
Behave exactly
가달래요.
as Stanley would.
바로
That means
꺼버렸어.
choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door
나레이션
on his
아저씨가
left.
시키는 거 빼고 다 해보죠.
간다, 오른쪽. 이젠 막지도 않네. 어차피 못 간다는 걸 알고 있기 때문인가? 아니면 게임도 슬슬 짜증난 거야? 마치 여기에 클릭하고 싶게 만들어놨다.
문 열어.
문 열어.
문
열어. 하지만 아무런 문도 열리지 않고 계속해서 이 상태야. 열라고. 마치 너 누르고 싶게 생겼잖아. 응, 작동하지 않아.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
요즘 나레이터도 반응이 느려. 내가 이미 오른쪽으로 들어갔는데.
And always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
자, 이번에도 오른쪽? 아니면 왼쪽?
팔이라는 숫자가 강조되는 걸 보니 뭔가 있나봐요. 6번 더 오른쪽으로 가봅시다.
오케이. 이것 봐.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
짜잔.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
난 또 들어왔지롱.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
이 문을 닫으면 어떻게 되지? 닫을 순 없나? 닫고 싶다 어쩐지. 하는 건 없고.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
샤샥. 하지만 아무 일도 없는걸? 문 열어!
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
8번을 다 채웠는데도
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
어떻게 이제 그럼 왼쪽으로 가? 왼쪽, 오른쪽, 왼쪽, 오른쪽. 별다른 지시가 없으면 왼쪽으로 갈게.
한 번만 더 오른쪽.
이미 너무 늦었어.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
계속 변하는 거였구나. 이게 뭐야?
상사의 사무실로 간다고 드디어 퇴근 인사하러 가는 거구나.
그치만 상사의 사무실로 가면은 맨날 비밀번호 누르고 다른 통로로 가라고 하는걸? 점점 빨라진다.
영어 좀 해석해주세요. 영어 점수 낮은 사람은 못 읽어요.
사실상 중요한 내용은 아니긴 한데 지금 이거 회의실에 나오는 이런 그 PPT 치고는 내용이 알맹이가 없어. 그냥 예를 들면은 뭐 PPT에 꼭 들어가야 하는 것 제목 뭐 이런 식으로 그냥 대충 아무거나 적어놓은 거야. 자, 일단 보스의 사무실로 가보겠어.
PPT에는 번호가 필수죠.
번호. 막아놨어.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
아래로 내려가는 계단을 아예 막아버렸어. 너는 똑바로 내가 시키는 대로만 해. 아예 선택지를 주지 않았다. 심지어 여기도 화장실이라고 붙어 있었는데 아예 떼버렸어. 편말을. 넌 꼼짝없이 이곳으로 가야 해. 나레이터 굉장히 화가 난 모양인데. 심지어 보스의 방은 왜 이렇게 됐지? 보스의 방이 바뀌었어. 지금까지 왔던 방과는 다른데?
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code. Stanley spoke the code. Nightshark 115.
아니, 내 선택지가 아니야.
He spoke it
무조건
into the
얘기하게 돼
receiver
있어.
right there on the wall. I'm sorry, is there a problem?
안 열리는데?
You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver.
아직 내가 얘기를 안 한
Otherwise we
거구나.
can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
어떻게 말해? 난 마이크도
Okay,
없는데.
fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
이제 나의 허공에다 사람을. 어?
Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me?
게임이 끝났어.
Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something.
아무것도 못 움직여. 화면 움직이는 거 말고는.
You can never know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there?
제가 나레이터군요.
Stanley, are you there? Okay.
내가 지금 나레이터인 거야.
It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
자, 게임을 점점 진행하는 동안 느낀 건 나레이터는 이 상황이 너무나 즐거운 거야. 내 선택이 내가 만들어 놓은 세계에서 내가 강요해 놓은 선택지에서 내가 원하는 대로 움직이는 스탠리를 보는 재미? 그거 가지고 본인이 살아있음을 느끼고, 왜냐면 내가 얘기하는 거에 스탠리가 따라서 반응을 해주니까. 내가 위로 올라가라면 위로 올라가고, 문을 열라고 하면 열고, 전화를 받으라고 하면 받고. 그런 식으로 내가 이상한 사람이 아니고, 나는 혼자가 아니고, 나는 누군가와 지금 소통을 하고 있다라는 것만으로 어떻게 보면은 매일매일의 즐거움과 목표를 가지고 있었는데, 처음으로 그 선택에 응하지 않는 존재, 그러니까 플레이어인 내가 나타난 거지. 그로 인해서 지금 나레이터는 점점 본인의 세계가 무너져가고 있다는 걸 느끼면서 어떻게든 이 상황을 막고 싶어 하는 거야. 지금 한번 또 실패를 겪고 나서 보니까 굉장히 문도 낡았고, 그 다음에 이 창틀도 낡았고, 굉장히 지저분해졌고, 여기 이렇게 서랍도 지저분해진 게 보이지? 반대로 스탠리의 사무실은 또 낡았어. 여기 보면은 아까는 없던 이런 흠집? 여기 보면 이렇게 다 낡아있는 거 보이지? 때도 있고. 더 이상 이곳은 나레이터가 원하던 완벽한 세상이 아니게 된 거야.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
하지만 아무것도 안 보이죠? 더 이상 나레이터는 이곳에서 신이 아니야. 하지만 여전히 문이 잠겨있는 건 다 똑같네. 아무것도 열리지 않아. 다시 한번 누리는 선택의 기로에 섰어.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
자, 어느 쪽으로 갈까?
왼쪽.
왼쪽?
다시 오른쪽 길 가다 보면 왼쪽에 방이 하나 있는데.
왼쪽이 먼저 왔기 때문에 왼쪽으로 출발. 여전히 문은 다 닫혀 있고 길은 하나뿐이야. 우리는 회의실에 가게 돼.
말을 들어주다가 안 들어주다가 들어주다가 안
Yet there was not a
들어주다가
single person here either.
그치?
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
자, 다시 한번 보스의 사무실로 가볼게. 다시 아래쪽으로 가는 계단이 생겼다.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
자, 위로 갈까? 아래로 갈까? 시키는 대로 할까요? 아, 이사님께서 그냥 지금 이제 시키는 대로, 이제 마지막이니까 시키는 대로 한번 해보라고 하시네. 그럼 나레이터가 시키는 대로 가볼게. 놀랍게도 아까랑 똑같이 다시 편말이 돌아왔고.
문 닫히기 전에 뒤로 빠져봐요.
문 닫히기 전에 후다닥! 오, 깜짝아.
Here's the door
어여분
to
마마가
go.
미치러 가시죠. 위로 가시는구나. 늦었구나.
그럼 이미 늦었어. 이제는 그냥 문이 있으니까 가보래. 비밀번호고 뭐고 다 필요 없고 그냥 가래. 문 열어놨으니까.
이사님 무료 운수 우.
왼쪽에 길 있어요.
무료 훈수라고 이사님.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
자, 다시 한번 들어서는 마인드 컨트롤 퍼실리티.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
스탠리가 생각했다고 하지만 실제로는 나레이터가 스탠리에게 그렇게 생각을 하게 만들도록 시키는 거잖아.
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
아이러니한 건 나레이터는 지금 우리를, 그러니까 플레이어를 경계하잖아. 즉 본인 스스로 생각하고 판단해서 왜 이 선택을 해야 돼? 난 이 선택을 하고 싶은데? 라고 하는 존재들을 때문에 고통을 겪고 있어. 그래서 스탠리처럼 내가 시키는 대로 그냥 하면 되는데 왜 생각을 하면서 나한테 내가 만든 세계에 대해서 반항을 하는 거지. 근데 아이러니하게도 그 개발자들은 그냥 생각 없이 게임이 재미없다, 재미있다로만 판단하는 사람들의 리뷰에 상처를 받았던 것이지.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible
무슨
to believe
아이러니하다.
it couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible?
그냥 아파트
Had he
관제실
truly
같은데?
spent his entire life
아파트 관제실?
utterly blind to the world?
저렇게 CCTV가 많은 아파트 관제실이라면 그 믿을 수 있는 아파트인데.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
잠깐. 밑으로 내려간 곳이 있었니? 아무 의미 없는 건가? 그냥 여기를 들어가게 되면 결국은 아까랑 또 똑같은 상황이 벌어지겠지? 온, 오프를 선택하고 거기서 뭘 선택을 하느냐에 따라서 또 상황이 이미 겪은 익명 유저기 구독 선물 고마워. 그냥 그런 상황일 것 같은데. 네.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his
네.
duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
자, 오늘의 플레이는 여기까지 할 거야. 지금 쭉 플레이를 해본 결과 굉장히 궁금한 게임이다. 어떤 식으로 그 스토리가 진행될지, 어떤 식으로 마무리가 될지, 개발자들이 정말 여기에서 어떤 부분을 이끌어내고 싶었는지, 마치 두꺼운 소설책에 앞에 1장 정도만 읽은 듯한 느낌이야. 호기심을 자아내는 그런 게임이고, 그리고 아까도 봤다시피 그냥 단순하게 DLC를 하나 더 추가해서 뭐 그냥저냥 비슷비슷한 그런 새로운 추가 컨텐츠 그렇게 끝내고 싶었던 게 아니고, 그 추가 컨텐츠에도 이 스탠리 패러블만이 가지고 있는 요소를 접목시켜서 더 이제 깊게 빠져들 수 있는 그런 방식으로 컨텐츠들을 추가한 듯해. 아까도 봤지만 그냥 이게 다야? 그냥 단순하게 이게 재밌을까? 저게 재밌을까? 우리 게임은 최고인데? 뭐 이런 식으로 그냥 해놓고 이게 그냥 끝이려니 했는데, 거기서부터 시작되는 또 새로운 이야기가 있고, 그리고 그 들어가는 방식 또한 상당히 매력적이었어. 이 게임이 보다시피 호불호가 갈리는 이유는 아까 그 리뷰에도 있듯이 게임이라고 하는 건 보통 재미와 아니면 또 가벼운 오락적인 요소가 많아야 된다고 보통 생각하는데, 이 게임은 그렇지 않고 어떻게 보면은 플레이하는 사람을 계속해서 선택의 어떤 상황에 몰아넣는 그런 거를 목표로 하고 있어. 내가 제일 처음에도 그랬지만 여기가 탈출 통로라고? 그러면은 당연히 게이머 입장에서는 2번, 3번 생각을 하게 되지. 왜 여기다가 굳이 만들어놨을까? 아니면 왜 여기다가 만든 이유가 따로 있을까? 여기를 내가 따라가면 어떤 결과가 나올까? 그 다음에 여기 따라가지 않는다면 어떤 결과가 나올까? 개발자들은 뭘 원했지? 그런 거를 한도 끝도 없이 생각하게 되잖아. 그냥 따라가도 되는데 그 상황에서 많은 걸 생각하게 한다는 얘기지. 그거부터가 어떻게 보면 이 게임의 아주 기본적인 원칙이자 전체를 아우르는 방식이 아닐까 싶어. 끊임없이 플레이어에게서 이 선택이 옳은 걸까? 내가 이걸 선택했을 때 어떤 결과를 가져올까를 끊임없이 고민하게 만드는 것? 그래서 단순히 그 처음에 게임을 시작할 때 나왔던 것처럼 스탠리가 아무런 그 의문도 가지지 않고 맹목적으로 그냥 버튼을 누르라면 누르고 길게 누르라면 누르고 그런 식으로 하는 것처럼 그냥 그렇게 게임을 단순하게 받아들일 것인지 게임에서 시키는 대로 하고 뭐야 엔딩이 이게 다야? 뭐야 이런 게임 별로야 라고 하든지 아니면 계속해서 왜 이런 상황이 벌어지는지에 대한 탐험을 통해서 탐구와 탐험을 통해서 이 게임에 숨어있는 진짜 의미와 진짜 결말을 찾든지 둘 중에 하나로 호불호가 갈리는 듯한데 그냥 내 생각은 그래. 게임이 당연히 재미가 있어야 되지. 근데 그 재미가 단순히 웃고 즐겁게 막 이렇게 유쾌하게 지나가는 것이냐 아니면 이렇게 머리를 싸매면서 사유하면서 얻는 재미이냐. 다양한 방향이 있는 거잖아. 그 다양한 방향 중에 하나인 게임이고 그런 부분에 있어서는 나는 이 게임이 접근을 굉장히 잘했다고 평가하고 싶고 기대되는 게임이다 라고 평가하고 싶고 더더욱이 2013년에 나왔던 게임이 다시 한번 그냥 단순한 컨텐츠가 아니라 이 게임의 확장판 같은 느낌으로 DLC가 추가가 됐다는 것만으로도 의미가 있는 게임이 아닌가 싶어. 그래서 꾹 진득하니 오래 붙들고 하나하나 이 게임의 대사 그 다음에 상황 이런 걸 음미하면서 즐길 수 있는 게임이 아닌가 그런 생각이 들었어. 그래서 방송에서는 뭐 스포일러라든지 기타 등등 때문에 플레이를 못하겠지만 언제 한 번은 생각나면은 쭉 하루 종일 플레이를 해보고 싶은 게임이네. 우리 남궁케이들은 뭐 아닐 수도 있겠지만 사람마다 취향은 다 다르니까. 근데 나는 개인적으로는 마음에 들었어. 궁금한 게임? 그치. 근데 정말 오래전 게임인데 나는 전혀 몰랐다는 게 아쉬울 정도로 신기한 게임이야. 그래서 그런 압박감을 견디면서 게임을 해야 된다는 게 좀 부담스러워서 그렇지 그게 아니고 근데 사실 게임이 아닌 현실이나 아니면은 그 게임에서도 나오지만 하루에 뭐 몇 번의 선택을 하느냐 인생은 항상 선택이잖아. 그러니까 그런 본질적인 부분을 건드릴 수 있는 또 매력이 있는 게임이 아닌가 싶어. 그치. 그래서 한번 해봤으면 좋겠어. 이런 거에 관심이 많다면 이렇게 좀 머리를 쉬게 만드는 게임이 아니라 가끔 이렇게 머리를 극한까지 몰아붙이는 게임도 재미있잖아. 그리고 지금 그건 뭐 아까도 내가 설명했지만 이게 글쎄 뭐 그런 내용에 대해서 호불호가 있을 수 이것도 마찬가지로 호불호인데 근데 이걸 어떻게 설명을 해야 될까? 그러니까 누구한테는 내가 당한 일에 대한 설명을 하는 것만으로도 왜 그렇게까지 구질구질하게 본인 얘기를 하는 거야? 라는 반응이 나올 수 있다는 거를 생각해 봤으면 좋겠어. 반대로 상대방은 나한테 그러니까 게임을 플레이하는 플레이어든 아니면은 그냥 길에서 만나는
누군가는 젤다를 좋아하고 누군가는 스탠리 페러블을 좋아하는 것뿐.
그치 다 취향 따라 다른 거지. 근데 취향 따라 다른 것과 그냥 그 게임 자체가 게임 자체를 그냥 본인이 파악하는 선에서 본인이 생각하는 느낌대로 리뷰를 적는 건 좋지만 그 리뷰를 적는 순간에 본인이 경험한 내용만으로 리뷰를 하게 되잖아. 그러다 보니까 그 개발자들 입장에서는 이 게임은 그거보다 더 깊은 게임인데, 아까도 우리가 플레이하다가 이게 지금 엔딩이 끝이야? 만약에 나도 개인적으로 그냥 게임을 구매해서 아무것도 정보를 모르는 상태에서 이 게임을 플레이해서 그 엔딩을 마주했다면 이게 무슨 게임이야? 라고 당연히 생각했겠지. 그러니까 그런 식으로 받아들이고 리뷰를 적는 사람도 있을 수 있을 거고, 그 다음에 게임에 어떤 그런 깊이 있는 건 알겠는데 뭐 이렇게 말이 많으면 짜증나, 이렇게 하는 사람도 있을 거고, 다양한 사람이 받아들이는 건 다 다른 거잖아. 근데 받아들이는 게 다 다르다고 해서 그거를 너무 직설적으로 리뷰에다가 그 단편적인 내용으로 써버리면은 그 게임에 들어가는 노력이라든지 그 방향이라든지 그런 게 단편적으로 평가가 된다는 생각이 아마 받아들이는 사람 입장에서는 들 거야. 그래서 그게 아니라는 걸 설명하고 싶은데, 그게 아니라는 걸 설명하게 되면은 지금 뭐 누구는 그렇군요 라고 하는 사람도 있겠지만, 누구는 뭐 구질구질하게 저런 것까지 얘기해 라고 할 수도 있잖아. 뭐 그런 것 뿐이야. 정말로 하나의 사건을 보는 사람들의 시선이랑 평가는 다 달라. 어떻게 보면 그런 것까지 끌어내고 싶었던 거일 수도 있어. 이 게임 그런 DLC에 그런 내용을 넣는다는 것 자체가, 평단은 다 우리를 칭찬하는데 뭐 유저들은 우리를 몰라줘, 이런 내용을 굳이 넣는 이유는 그걸 보고 또 사람들이 생각하는 판단? 이 리뷰를 내가 정말 이들에게 상처 주는 리뷰를 썼구나, 나는 수정을 해야지 라고 하는 사람도 있을 수 있고, 게임에다가 이렇게까지 유저 닉네임을 박아놓고 욕을 하네? 라고 하는 사람도 있을 거고, 다 그렇잖아? 또 그런 것마저도 그 유저들 각각의 선택인 거지. 그런 의미에서 생각해보면은 개발자들이 상당히 철학적인 고민을 많이 하고 게임을 만든 게 아닌가 싶기도 해. 누구를 비난하려고 넣었다기보단 아까도 말했지만 같은 사건을 보는 사람들의 시선은 다 다른데 그 다른 시선까지도 다른 시선을 다 가지고 있다는 것을 본인들의 게임을 가지고서라도 얘기를 하고 싶었던 게 아닐까, 그런 생각이 드네. 그치. 아니지. 좋아요 받은 걸 신경을 안 쓴 이유는 뭐 당연하잖아. 나한테 좋은 말을 해주는 사람보다는 나쁜 말을 해주는 사람, 나쁜 말을 들을 때가 더 기억에 남는 법이잖아. 그게 소수더라도 사실 그거에 대해서 신경이 쓰이기 마련이거든. 아까 그 나레이터가 했듯이 좋은 것도 많고 칭찬도 많은데 왜 그 안 좋은 리뷰에 나는 몰입하게 되는가. 그런 법이지. 그럼. 맞아. 그리고 세상에는 나한테 좋은 말을 해주는 사람보다 의외로 나쁜 말을 하는 사람이 더 많아. 그게 단순히 이런 뭐 소비자와 그 판매자의 관계가 아니고 그냥 일반적인 친구 관계라도 마찬가지. 그럼. 그게 낫거든. 그렇다고 그 나레이터가 얘기했듯이 그게 화나는 건 아니지만, 반대로 이쪽에서도 설명하고 싶은 내용이 있잖아. 우리 게임은 그렇지 않아요. 근데 우리 게임은 그렇지 않아요 만 얘기하는 순간 그거 자체가 변명같이 되는 거야. 그게 참 아이러니한 일이지. 이쪽에서도 그렇지 않다고 설명할 수 있는 기회가 있어야 되는데 그런 걸 한다는 것만으로도 쟤네 왜 저래? 라는 시선이 있으니까. 다양한 생각할 거리를 주는 게임이야. 그러니까 너무 이렇게 극단적으로 생각하지 말고 이 게임의 개발자들이 왜 이런 걸 했을까를 한번 곰곰이 생각해 보는 게 좋을 것 같아. 그치. 생각할 거리라는 건 참 좋은 거야. 그럼 아까 우리 끝말잇기도 내가 잠시 그 얘기했잖아. 채팅으로 전부 다 오고 가는 건데, 그 끝말잇기라는 건 다른 사람이 어떤 단어를 끝에 말했는지를 잘 듣고 그 다음에 내가 여기서 어떤 단어를 이어갈지를 고민하게 되는 거잖아. 그게 바로 의사소통이랑 마찬가지인 건데, 그렇게 남이 하는 말을 잘 듣고 그 다음에 내가 하는 말도 남이 잘 들을 수 있게 하고 서로 그렇게 둥글둥글 얘기하다 보면은 결국에는 나쁜 얘기가 아니라 건실한 얘기가 되겠지. 그래서 우리 남궁 K들도 항상 조금 더 상황을 다양한 방면으로 보는 그런 남궁 K들이 되면 어떨까 하는 생각을 했어. 그럼 아무튼 많은 생각을 한번 해봐. 벌써 10시 27분이구만. 아이 렌즈를 끼라는 게 아니고 뭐 조금 진지하게 얘기하면 렌즈는 어떻게 보면 편견이니까
마망의 명품 해설과
편견을 내려놓고
명작극장
서로를
너무
바라보는 게 더 도움이 되지 않는가 하는 거지. 아, 이 게임은 별로인 것 같아. 이 게임은 이상한 것 같아. 그런 편견 말고 그냥 왜 이렇게 이상하게 만들었지? 라는 거를 생각해 보는 거지. 그러면 조금 더 다른 시각으로 만날 수도 있을 거야. 그런 기회를 주는 거 나쁘지 않잖아? 뭐 그런 기회를 주는 거조차 사치라고 생각하면은 슬픈 거지만 그래서 이렇게 또 스탠이 패러블을 즐기게 됐고 그 게임의 제목에 담긴 이야기에 대해서도 생각해보게 되었어. 자, 방송 시작할 때 얘기했던 대로 원래 우리 공지에서는 이번 주에 방송이 일수금일이라고 했지만 이사님이 날짜를 잘못 체크하시는 바람에 사실은 금요일이 아니라 내일 방송을 하게 돼. 그러니까 잊지 말고 금요일 아니고 내일 오면 돼. 알겠지? 까먹지 말고. 미안해. 수목일이니까 목요일과 일요일에 만나자고. 그치. 내일은 또 다른 게임을 진행할 예정이고. 그게 아직 미정이어서 그런데 뭐 게임을 할 수 있고 아직 안 정했어. 그거에 대해서는. 게임을 할지 아니면은 다른 걸 할지 아직 안 정했어. 자, 오늘 10시 반이다. 그러면 우리는 내일 7시 반에 오늘처럼 만나는 거야. 금요일 아니고 목요일이니까 내일이니까 헷갈리지 말고 잘 쉬고 우리는 내일 7시 반에 만나자고. 알겠지? 그러면 오늘은 게임이 제법 쿠키
있어요.
아, 그래요? 다행히 쿠키가 있다고 한다. 그러면 우리는 내일 7시 반에 만나서 또 재밌게 놀자고. 그러면 루바
만원 왔다.
오늘도 재밌었어요 루파.
남궁누리는 방송 종료를 준비해가고 있었어요. 내일 방송을 위해서 윙크 연습을 했습니다. 양쪽 눈이 잘 되는 걸 확인했습니다. 이어서 남궁누리는 한 명 제대로 강등시켜야지 하는 마음에 강등 카드를 날렸어요. 아, 이것은 빠따였군요. 강등 카드를 날렸어요. 이제 남궁누리에게 선택의 시간이에요. 왼쪽 선을 선택하면 내일 방송이 뭔지 시청자들에게 알려줄 수 있고, 오른손을 선택하면 내일 방송이 뭔지 시청자들은 모르는 채 방송에 임하게 돼요. 시청자들은 어떤 걸 원할까요?
시청자들이 원하는 건 중요하지 않아. 내가 원하는 게 중요해. 난 오른쪽!
오른쪽을 선택했어요. 내일 방송하게 되는 게임은 우리에 대한 나의 기억.
뭐야?
게임 제목이에요.
알려주지 않는다 아니었어요?
오른쪽이 그랬네. 알려주지 않는다는데 나레이터가 오류가 났어요. 뭐 인생이 그런 거죠. 깜빡했어요.
날짜도 깜빡하더니 이제는 게임 선택도 깜빡하네. 나레이터 안 되겠어.
그럼 다들 모르잖아요, 뭔지. 그럼 남궁누리 오늘 방송을 종료하고 잘 자요.
잘 자. 루바.